Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today we are yet again talking about the family immigration petition, specifically the expediting case when it is already with NVC. Now I have done a separate video specifically expediting the case when it is still with USCIS. This video is specifically with the Department of State National Visa Center. Now, before I start, I'm going to mention, like I mentioned in every single video, I am not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information that I provide in the videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, and of course the Department of State National Visa Center. So, expediting the NVC with NVC, your case with NVC. I'm gonna give you a disclaimer beforehand so that you don't have to waste time watching this video, because I did not start this channel to make it popular or to, do the clickbait stuff. No, I want to be fair to people. I don't want to waste anybody's time. So right off the bat, I'm gonna say, if the immigrant visa is still not available for the beneficiary, there is nothing you can do. Unfortunately, you cannot expedite the case unless the immigrant visa is already available. Now, if you are wondering what it means, what does the immigrant visa availability means, check out the video that I've made specifically on Visa Bulletin. Basically, Department of State, they release every month an updated Visa Bulletin. Right now, as you can see, they have it for March 2023. There's gonna be a new one coming out for April 2023, and I will keep making videos each month. The new Visa Bulletin comes out with updated numbers. But if you haven't done the research on Visa Bulletin just yet and you have the family reunification process going on, I definitely recommend doing your research on the Visa Bulletin. It's very, very important. Basically, there are a few different categories, and then there are multiple graphs that show you which cases are being processed as of, in this case right now in front of me, March 2023. So for example, for F4 category, brothers and sisters of adult US citizens, for all chargeability, the cases that have been completed documentarily qualified back in March 2007, 22nd March 2007, so it's very detailed, are being processed now in March 2023. And you can estimate approximately, not 100%, because these dates, they change. They sometimes speed up, sometimes slow down if there's a bigger backlog, if there's some kind of delay in immigration processing in general. But if you stay on top of the Visa Bulletin and you check it regularly, then you will be able to approximately estimate when that immigrant visa becomes available. So with that being said, again, if the visa is still not available for your beneficiary, there is unfortunately nothing that you can do, because NVC cannot go above basically the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952, where from 1952 we still have that. That's why everybody talks about the immigration reform. Even though it was amended, still not much have happened. And again, if you want to learn more about visa backlog and why it's there, check out the video that I've done specifically on Visa Bulletin. It's called Understanding Visa Bulletin, and it is uploaded to this channel. Okay, so now that I'm not wasting time for people that don't have the immigrant visa available just yet for their beneficiary, now let's get to people that actually do have the visa that is already available for their beneficiary, but the case is still kind of in a limbo. They're waiting, they're transferring it, they're waiting for, to review all your documents that you have submitted to the NVC portal, or as a lot of times happens, the delays, NVC now documentarily qualified you, but you're just sitting and waiting when the NVC finally transfers everything to the local US embassy so that they can schedule the interview for your beneficiary. This is the video for you. All right, this is the video for you if you are in that situation. And there is a way to expedite. If the immigrant visa is already available, there is a way to expedite it. Now, there are a few different criteria that qualifies you to submit that request to expedite. None of these criteria, however, guarantee that NVC will expedite it, so they might just either look at it or they might never get to it. So it's not a guarantee. Again, keep that in mind. But there is a way to do it. There are a few criteria. Basically, it's the hardship, right? Whether you are petitioner experiencing the hardship here and bringing the beneficiary here would, help you with that hardship, or the beneficiary is experiencing some kind of hardship. There is some kind of life-threatening situation involved. There is some kind of medical emergency that is involved, and basically based on all of these different whatever the criteria is, you will be providing the supporting documentation showing that this is real. So if you're claiming some kind of medical emergency, obviously you will have to have the statement from the doctor, statement from the hospital. Another criteria would be if, for example, you're petitioning for a child under 21 and now the child is aging out, so you're petitioning to NVC to expedite the process because they're getting closer to turning 21, and you're like, hey, we want to finish up this process with all the interviews and all that sort of stuff before he or she turns 21, so please expedite the request. Okay, you get the point. So how do you do it? Now, as you can see, I have in front of me, this is the official government website from the Department of State. As you can see, your travel.state.gov. If you haven't been on this website yet, make sure to check it out. You can find a lot of very, very important information. And this is their frequently asked questions page. And as you can see, they have a question. I have been waiting for a very long time for my relative to get an immigrant visa. Now there's a family emergency and I need my relative to immigrate soon to the US. Can NVC help me? And the very first thing they start with is they say, if a visa is available. As you can see, it's very, very important to keep that in mind. And it's pretty straightforward. In order to request the expedited processing, all you're doing is you're sending the statement, a letter, basically just a personal statement, a cover letter, to an email, NVC Expedite at state.gov, and I'm gonna put all the links, the link for this page and the email. Alternatively, you can call them and request the expedited processing if you don't want to send the email, but because they specifically ask for the email, I would highly recommend following the instructions directly. I know if you look around some forums, some immigration forums, some attorney websites, they will tell you, oh, submit this, do that, all this loopholes, trickery stuff. I like to stick to the official sources. If NVC themselves, the Department of State themselves, telling me that in order to request expedited processing, I need to send an email, this is what I'm going to do. And I recommend you do too. Don't try to go above what the procedure that they have already in place, because a lot of times it not necessarily is going to hurt your case or anything like this. But again, you don't want to create unnecessary paperwork and stuff for the Department of State, because they already have a lot on their plate. So if they're telling you to send the email, send the email. Okay, so you understand now the supporting documentation. Obviously, depending on what it is, what kind of criteria based on you are requesting this expedited processing. Like I said, some kind of family medical emergency, maybe it's some kind of financial hardship, the child is turning over 21, right? It needs to be processed faster. This interview needs to be scheduled as soon as possible, right? That's the situation. Based on that, you're providing the supporting evidence. That makes sense. Now, what about the cover letter itself? How is it supposed to look? Very straightforward. You're basically typing up a professional, polite, personal statement, all right? You put who is the sender, your information, your case number, your invoice number. You say who the beneficiary is. You address it to who you're sending it to, obviously in this case going to be to NVC. And then you type up your standard cover letter format, basically an essay. Hello, dear sir or madam, my name is blah blah blah, I am the petitioner on this case, number, invoice number, I filed this case back in that date and now it's been this much and the visa is already available, but there is an emergency situation based on which I am requesting you to expedite the processing of my case. All right, and then you explain the situation briefly in a few sentences, and then you say that, hey, supporting documents are attached to this email, and I actually would recommend sending 2 emails just in case. One, sending with the statement just saying that I'm requesting to the request, basically just a request to expedite the case, and another one with the evidence. One is without evidence and another one with the evidence. And the reason why I'm saying you do that just in case, because a lot of times whenever it comes to these government servers, email servers, a lot of times they filter out the spam, and a lot of times, you know, with the spam, there's an attachment. There's always an attachment that's in the spam. So a lot of times the emails with attachments, they automatically go either they're blocked, they don't go through, or they go to like spam folder. So you don't want that, all right? That's why I send one without the supporting documents and one with the supporting documents. Just in case if that one gets blocked, at least they will get the cover letter, and then if they need additional documentation, they will reach out to you and request it from you. They do give you some very, very brief instructions here. Petitioner's name, date of birth, beneficiary's name, date of birth, invoice, ID number. That's the minimal stuff that has to be in the cover letter. But definitely I would recommend putting the date. I would recommend putting the case number, just in case to give them, you know, so that there is no stuff that is lacking out of that cover letter. And that is really it. That is really it. The only other thing that they say here is that if visa is not available, there's nothing that NVC can do, because they cannot go basically above the Congress and the stuff, the regulations and laws that those guys pass. So let me know in the comments below if that was helpful, or if you have any additional questions. I will be happy to address them. Every other day I make a video by volume where I go through all your comments and answer all your immigration related questions one by one. So whatever questions you might have, just drop them in the comments below and I will be happy to address them. As always, thank you very much for watching. I hope this was helpful. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.